Okay, another dating story. So a few months ago at my local dry cleaners here, I met this gorgeous looking African American with a mix of German and something else, but she didn't quite outright look like a typical African American, if that makes sense. I would have mistaken her for Portuguese or South America, Puerto Rican. She's almost got my skin tone, which is a tan, sometimes like a dark tan look, and I kind of like it. Her hair is curly, and she's got nice features. And fast forward to when I got her Instagram, she doesn't quite look like that in real life. So come to find out, she's using a lot of filters, and like most modern women today, it's misleading because I would probably remove at least a point or point and a half from the scale of 1 to 10. So on her Instagram, she looks like she's an 8 or a 9, but in real life, when you actually look at her naturally, she's probably like a strong 7. Okay. And as I say that, I know this is going to tick off most audiences that are female based, but you got to look at it this way, right? Not everyone is a 10 out of 10. That's it. I just can't wrap my head around the fact that when you all rate us men, right, from a scale of 1 to 10, we just accept it. Like it is what it is. We don't argue, we don't banter, we don't whine, we don't itch. We just accept it and move on. Like at the end of the day, men, we suffer in silence and we know what we need to do to improve ourselves should we choose to. So, the power of choice, we know what we can control physically outside of our height. Okay. We can control a lot of those variables in our lives, but really the competition is you versus you. So, going back to the scale, this whole I'm a 9, I'm a 10, I am the table, that's all garbage, it's bullshit. That's what I would describe as inflated ego, right? Inflated self sense, right? Worthiness. You're just way shooting outside of your own range. And when I see this girl on a regular basis now, since I need to drop off my clothes, my dress clothes, right? Dress attire, I kind of get to see her real side, naturally who she is. And to me, she's still good looking, don't get me wrong. But I almost want to ask her the question, why do you use so much filter on Instagram? But then again, this is a modern day woman, modern day era climate, which is precisely why people don't like to meet up in person, I guess, and they flake on you because you're going to have to show yourselves and you're going to have to show your card. So the story behind this is that I was going there for a couple of weeks, drop in my, I've been going to this dry cleaners for about 3 years off and on, but this girl happens to be new. And I think I kind of mentioned her in one of my videos that there's a good chance I'm going to ask her out. And it did happen. And as a matter of fact, she made the move. She gave me the choosing signals. One of those days I showed up and I had good sleep. My skin was glowing, and she called it out and she goes, "You look chipper today. You look dapper than usual. Like you must have something good going on in your life." I'm like, "Yeah, I came to just drop off my laundry. What's up with you?" And we started a conversation. See, if they give you the choosing signal, you got to jump on it right away. And I did. I told her basically that, I did notice you on day one and I had a smile on my face, but I was looking the other way. When you looked at me, I looked away. When I looked at you, you looked away. But from my peripheral vision, I could see that we were checking each other out. And then I kind of threw in a little jab. I'm like, of course, this is not new to you. You probably do this every day, given the influx of customers and traffic that you meet, which is fine. You should be. You're a good looking girl, good looking woman. She laughed, twirled her hair, and basically, we were bantering, and I was asking her ethnicity. She was telling me she goes to the grocery store. She does get low key approached by dudes in the store, but nothing like this straightforwardness. So this led me to believe that I'm still doing something right that most men are not able to do. And I'm not a pickup artist. I'm not a dating coach. I'm not a dating expert. I am just someone that takes a chance. I take a shot, and sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a miss, but I don't take the rejection personally. And I think that's an area that I can maybe teach and coach. I have a 10-second rule that if you see the girl that you like, the girl of your dreams, and even if she's outside of your league, by the way, no one is outside of your league. That's a limiting belief. That's a limitation we place on ourselves. It's more like, are you in the league within, right? You haven't become the best version of yourself, which is why you lack the confidence. You don't have enough muscle mass. You're not lean enough. You have a gut. Your clothes are loose on you. You have no dressing sense of style. You stink, frankly. Okay, your diet sucks. Your sleep sucks. You got bag underneath your eyes. You're whining. You're complaining. What if? Why me? Blah blah blah. It's not gonna change the outcome, bro. Us guys, we gotta take it, deal with it. Ain't no one coming to save us. We have to dig ourselves out of it. So, pivoting now back to the story, I said, look, we should go out sometime. Have you had your lunch? Because I know she's getting a 1 hour lunch, but I saw her working in the dry cleaners back and forth and the linen, right? And there's a good smell when you're around laundry and detergents and stuff, There's also some sexual chemistry if that girl working there happens to be good looking and there's an exchange of energy going on, and then you get that pheromones and the smell, the attraction. And so she was wearing this t-shirt, but underneath the t-shirt there was like a little strap, thin strap, so that was like probably the bra, I imagine, or just another thin layer inside. And I followed her shoulder right up until here, but not for the reasons you think. It actually said Los Angeles Lakers. Bingo. And then, of course, I started thinking about all the other stuff that most guys, healthy testosterone would. And I found her extremely attractive. And so I made the conversation about the Lakers. And she said, no, she's not a Lakers fan, but she's from LA. And then her father is in the trucking business and so forth and blah, blah, blah. And we exchanged a lot of information. And on my second visit there, actually, let me stay to the first one. So I asked her out. We were all set to go, and she said, when I asked her number, she said, yeah, you can have my number. Like, she literally fell to the floor when I asked her number. Like, I was not expecting it. It's almost like she played her hand so early. There's just nothing wrong. I would rather you play your hand early so we can cut to the chase and cut the BS and get right to it. But she played her hand, which is fine. Like, understand, guys. I don't think she has any idea how old I am. Okay. She's got to be under 30. I would say she's probably like 28, 29, 27, 28, 29. She looked like she's in the late 20s because I've been around women. I've dated enough to know a 22-year-old versus a 28, 29-year-old. There's a big difference. Men and women, we age completely different. A 28 for you is 28 night and day for men. In fact, I made a video about a man hitting his prime around 32. It's just the beginning for him. Whether you like it or no, it's not the same for the opposite gender. Biology gives most women the beauty, the features, the curves, the growth hormone spikes. By 16, 17, you are actually looking more and more like a grown woman. Your physical attributes and gifts begin to blossom, if you know what I mean. It's very normal. This is just what it is. And you get that very much upfront in life. That's biology favoring you all all the way from 16, 17, all the way until 18, 28, 29, 30. Now, it doesn't mean that your value declines, but you have blossomed into a flower to procreate, right? You do have a biological clock. You do have a biological clock, and the eggs, the fertility, and so forth. And men are naturally drawn to fertility, to younger women. I'm all over the page with this video based on the recent comments here, so I'm trying to weave in and out of these strategically and give my perspective. So once again, nothing wrong with you hitting 30. Is that you will realize, and as I've been told, that feedback I'm getting in the marketplace dating these women, that they are well aware that men, even their age, a 30-year-old man, a 35-year-old man, most likely is going to pick a 25-year-old, not a 30-year-old, not a 32-year-old. That's just biology. So it needs to be said, but there's also, everyone ages out of the dating market at some point. Everyone ages out of the dating market at some point, and you have to be okay with it. Even myself, even men. I am not immune to it. Now, a man's prime, we can prolong it for a little bit longer, and I'm proof and living example. I'm 50 years old, guys. I'm 50 years old. To get to this point didn't happen overnight. It took a lifetime. Now, fast forward and back to the story again, sticking to the plot, right? This girl, I bet you probably thought I was in my early 30s because she was just absolutely sprung the way she gave me her number. It's like she was falling over the counter. And I'm like, I played it cool because normally that's me. Normally that's me, like overly excited and planning the date, and just I have a lot of energy. I am high energy. I don't hide it. But now it was interesting to see the choosing signals was just like another level. I'm like, oh, I am that dude. This is what it feels like. Just play it cool. And I didn't play the game. Meaning I didn't give her a hard time. I didn't take her for a spin like she was going to take me here that I'm going to embark on. Took the number, and now we're texting. I come back home. I waited about an hour, 2 hours, nothing more than that. And I sent a cool text, nice meeting you, blah, blah, blah. We should go out tomorrow. It was a Friday. She was down, and I was going to take her to the same wine bar that I typically go to down here in Henderson. And she was so excited on the day off. She was keeping me updated and abreast of her schedule. And then at 3 o'clock, this is kind of where I started putting a question mark and a dot, dot, dot. I'm like, there we go. This is the red flag. It always happens, guys. This is the red flag. She goes, I have to make a run to North Las Vegas because my grandmother fell. And the bookshelf fell on her, and now she's injured and she is no one, and I'm the only one in Las Vegas. The pity story. Blah, blah, blah. So I paused. I could have ghosted her, but I didn't. I kind of played along with it, and I said, hey, you got to take care of family. You got to do what you got to do. You don't have a dad here. Your dad is in and out of the state, right, doing the trucking stuff. And as per our conversation, you are the only one that can help her. So I just kind of let her have her moment and bullshit it and lie about it because she's lying. I don't believe you. I don't believe most women, especially when they cancel on you the last minute. I just don't buy it. And then I just left it to where it is. And I never bothered her. When are we going to meet up next? And this and that and blah blah blah. And at this time, NBA Finals was going on, so it was the OKC Thunder in the finals versus the Indiana Pacers. And this girl is from Seattle, so she was obviously cheering for the OKC Thunder. I won't lie, I started cheering for the Thunder in the beginning, but then looking at you know what's his name, Hellsbury, like I forget the guy's name, but for Pacers, you know who I mean. Seeing his story and the rise, right, and the fact that they actually could have won Game 7 and he got injured, that won me over. So I started cheering for the Pacers. So from the time Game 6, Game 7 happened, I made a couple more runs to the dry cleaners, and we were chopping it up. I was getting suited and getting my suits refitted, and she was seeing everything. And then we had a 30-minute conversation as I was getting sized up, tapered and measured by the tailor. And I call her Mama over there, the owner. And she got to know about my soccer background, martial arts, dance, and we exchanged a lot more information. And she was impressed. I could tell she was impressed. And then I'd throw another bait out, like, not the text message, not the text. I did it in person. I said, look, if this goes to a Game 7, we should hang out on a Sunday. We should go out. She didn't say yes. She didn't say no. I just didn't hear back. 2 of 2. I asked her twice, okay? On the third meeting, meaning that when I went there, I've minimized all text messages, guys. See, the thing is that you don't want to be going too much back and forth on text message. So from the very first day, from day one, I told her I'm not much of a text person because I know how this plays out. It feels like you are ruining the chemistry, okay? And 2, I'm not so much of this social media kind of like, let's follow each other, because she texted me and said, you should follow me on Instagram. And I said, why? We've already started. This is for me. I didn't say it in the exact words. I just basically told him I'm not really that much of a social media fan of following someone that I don't really know. And I'm not a fan of these long strings and messages. I would like to advance this to the date. Like, let's go out. I disclosed all of this to her. She's a modern day woman. She still found a way to F this up, man. She adds me on Instagram first. Actually, no. When she gave me her handle, I followed her and told her, look, I followed you because that's what you wanted. You can follow me back, but I'm not going to be stalking your profile outside of a couple of glimpses. And so that's when did she follow me right away? So, you know, enter my world and ready to be judged. And I will never do, I gotta, my rule here is going to be that if you want the social proof, you can have my Instagram and creep it if you want, but I'm going to tell you that I want to get to the first date almost like instantly before you start judging me. And I get it. Social media these days is like your resume, your social proof, and you can do a lot of vetting through social media. With her, as I mentioned earlier, she doesn't look like her pictures. She looks close to it, but she doesn't look that good. And every girl almost looks like at least a point or two more on the look scale better than the real life. And I don't know why you all do this. Very misleading for the guys. And then you walk around thinking that you were a straight dime piece, and you're not. You're not a dime piece, man. So we kind of start fizzling out. I can sense it. Guys, this gets even more creepier. This is the epitome of what I see happening everywhere. And I just once again went with the whole thing here. I just kind of rolled with it. Now we're connected on Instagram. By way of value exchange, I have a lot more to offer than she does outside of her ass. Outside of the typical thirst trap pictures. You know, you turn around, your butt's in the air, and every other picture you can see her legs, your thighs, and typical thought behavior, right? Like typical. You know, after the first initial few, just going through her feed, her posts, my interest went from here and it just tanked. It just hit me that you have nothing different to offer than the next 6, 7, 8, 9 piece, 9 out of 10. Like you are a strong 7. That's how I would rank you, rate you. I consider myself a strong 7. Some girls have told me, no, you're an 8, you're a 9. You know, I don't care. I don't care to be a 10. I clearly know I'm not a 10. Some girls may consider me a 10, but I consider myself a 7, like 7, 7 plus. And on the days when I have my abs and my core, like everything is clicking in, I think I'm an 8. But that's just me. But I am not going to be emphatically saying I'm a 10, I'm a dime, I'm the table. Now, us guys, we are very realistic. We don't have an inflated sense of self. Social media really, it's for women. You all have the pipeline. You all have the opportunity. You all are letting the guys in your DMs. Those straps are not for females. It's for guys. It's for men. Open for business. And if I'll be damned to say y'all not monetizing yourself and objectifying yourselves, and then saying don't objectify me. I'm digressing. But back to this strange behavior. She started looking at my stories. Everything I post, she was just watching my stories. I'm like, wow, this can't be happening. I gave you 2, maybe 3 opportunities, and I asked you out. One was very direct. 2 was an open invite to the game. I would have taken her someplace nice. Always treat the woman nice, as much as your finances allow. And I always say this, like I'm a gentleman till the day, not I die, but till the day I say I'm done. I'm just not going to do it, but I'm going to do it. And the third time is following up and kind of giving her a little bit of dig in the rib cage and saying, "How's the bookshelf doing?" And when I said all of this is in person, I was so sarcastic. I was like, "Is the bookshelf all right? I hope the bookshelf's okay." And she gave me this look like, "No, no, no, seriously. I know you don't believe me, but it was really my grandma and this and that." I'm like, "Yeah, my grandma died 5 years ago." I was gonna go right there. It's like my grandma died 5, 6 years ago, but it reminded me that I still have to run in. But you see where I'm going with this. I was being facetious because I could tell her the way her pupils was going like this and all over it, like just she's lying. If you want to catch someone lying, stare right at them in their pupil because if you got nothing to hide, make that eye contact and watch them tell on themselves. If I was a betting man, she already had someone on the side. That's it. She already had someone on the side. So all of this kind of fizzled out. I lost the attraction. I went from thinking she's a 7 to now she's a 6. Now maybe a 5 plus or a 6. I didn't find her. She had the physique. Don't get me wrong. Like she's got the physique. Her face is okay. But with that personality now, and now that I kind of know her, for me now she became a 6. Like I just instantly lost everything. Just kind of went down like I described it. And then I caught her putting like a note on one of those odd days where she goes, "You all have no game. You guys have no game." So I almost wanted to respond that it's not like guys don't have the game. It's more like that no one's trying to game you like that. And you're frustrated. She also told me that she lived in Miami when I shared my Miami stories when I went to work for South Beach, Florida. And I did a video on that. Then she told me she was in a relationship with a toxic boyfriend situation. Well, who picked that situation? There's a good chance that you picked a toxic guy thinking that you could change him, but when you didn't change, now he's the bad guy. Now he's toxic. But it's the same toxic traits that you fell for. And he's probably a 6 footer because this girl is tall. I mean, she's probably like 5'9", 5'10", which is tall for a woman. And so I looked at her IG, then I looked at my IG, and I was like, if I was to contrast and compare and contrast by way of value, I would be adding so much more value to her life with everything that I'm involved in and I do, including YouTube. What is she exactly adding to my life outside of already showing me her cards that she likes to play these kinds of games? And then she subliminally drafts these notes on Instagram. This is why I don't like Instagram and social media when it comes to dating, because it's a distraction and it's sort of a mask and it's fake. Fake, even visually, all the filters you all use. And then it just sort of went back and forth. I posted a couple of notes getting caught up as well. Like, you all think you're celebrities. Every girl thinks that she's a 10. Every girl thinks that she's a dime. The reality is most of you are not a dime. You don't dictate the scale. The marketplace does. Guys don't go around talking about the scale as much as we do because we make our choice by giving the girl the commitment. We choose the girl that we want to commit to. Now, it doesn't mean that it always works out where the girl reciprocates, but we do the proposing for the most part. We propose. We will give you the relationship. Whereas you will choose who you want your body, right? Who you give it up to, who can get access to your body. I'm being polite here, guys. Like, essentially, you safeguard who you let into your body, into your soul. Like having sex, you control that. The gatekeepers. We decide who we want to give the relationship to post sex. But sometimes if it's a mutual agreement and if it's just about the sex, then okay, just move on after that. Like there's no harm, no foul. Pleasure goes both ways and do your thing and just be on with it. But I'm talking about normally speaking. This is the dynamics of the sexual marketplace. And the more this went on, the social media connection, I thought about deleting her, but what happened is she actually deleted me. She unfriended me. Go figure, dude. How strange was all of this, right? And then I continued going to the dry cleaners. I'm not going to change my routine because that's my dry cleaners. There's a good chance she's probably not going to work there for too long. I am still I'll continue going there because it's not abnormal for me. It's not uncomfortable. It's not awkward. She's the one who's acting awkward. It's so strange to see this behavior. Like all of a sudden, she doesn't know who I am, and she's got amnesia, no memory, like as to the chemistry we had in the very first time. Right? I'm not hung up on it. You know what? You know what's funny is that every morning I have my 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. routine. I get up to walk my dog and get a little bit training in, but most importantly, make a circuit, do at least 2 miles around my complex, and I can see her walking down the hill, down the alley. She comes from the other side. It's a fenced, gated area here, and I'll see her walking down. I think she saw me once, and she put two and two together. This guy lives here, like on this side, but I didn't really give a shit. Like I could care less. But at the end of the day, once again, the bottom line is there's some guy out there that's going to have to deal with that. The attitude, the entitlement, the inflated sense of self. The way she came across, I gave her all the compliments. I told her that you're gorgeous, you're beautiful, even though I know that she used filters. Naturally, I did find her beautiful, like naturally. She wasn't drop dead gorgeous, but she was naturally pretty. Like I'm okay with that. Like I said, for me, she's a strong 7. I would date a 7 any day. I don't know about dating a 10. But now that I think about it, the attitude typically is pretty much the same across the board. I think that the lower they are on the scale from, 1 out of 10, the worse they are. I've heard that the hotter she is, it's easier to actually date them. The 9s and 10s are actually nicer, which is why, and I've heard this from dating coaches. I think I've had a couple of 9s in my life recently, and they're normal. They're still a little fried, but they're just a little normal versus the 6, 7, and 8s. This gives me a headache, guys. This gives me a headache. So, how did you manage to outdo yourself in this situation? I'm not bitter. I'm not upset because there was nothing that I invested in you outside of spending a little bit of time when I was dropping my clothes off to the dryers and picking it up. I think I escaped another ticking time. You know what? Because I really got to know who you are and your behavior. Text messaging, Instagram, and in real life, as well as visually. Way to kill an attraction, man. Way to talk yourself out of a first date. Way to go. Way to go. So, all of that to say this is that you could give her, whoever your her is, the perfect circumstances. All the mannerisms are dialed in, but somehow she's the one that flakes on you, but flips it energy wise onto you. And you have to like combat that energy and realize that no, we're two different people. My energy field is not your energy field. Whatever you're projecting, I refuse to accept. No, I'm not a loser. You are a loser. You flaked, you lied, you didn't show up, not once, but 3 times. And I would have treated you really good. Most guys don't have the type of profile that I do, if that makes sense. Like most guys my age, especially at 50, they don't have a whole lot happening for themselves because their health is gone. Like they've already let their body go. They have like a big ass belly. Almost no guy, I mean, very little guys at 50 are lean, ripped, or have a little bit of abs or a flat core. I am one of those guys. Not only am I one of those guys, I'm not bragging. This is a reminder that for those of you that are making fun and saying, well, you are 50, sir, and you think your value has... Listen, man, I'm not arguing about my value. You've seen the comments. You've seen a few comments on a couple of my videos. People are just flabbergasted that I look younger than my age, and I thank you for that. Like I put in a lot of years of work and dedication to get to this point, including my battle with anxiety and alcohol and sleep. I didn't make an excuse. I talked about it. I put myself out there, put this channel out there, and I'm living with the consequences. But I know that I'm touching people's lives, even if it's just one person. Because when I was growing up and in those dark places in my life, I wish I had these types of channels that were keeping it 100% real. And I'm posting receipts. Now, if I went out with this chick, I would be posting receipts, as you have seen in my videos before. Right? So there's a lot of work that goes behind it, and it's not necessarily training. It's a lot of this has to, I don't really show my weightlifting videos, and I've done the sprinting and the martial arts, and I'm going to get back to all of that. I do that in privacy. Like when I show up this way, this is like the final product that you're seeing. Like all of this is the final product. Like today I didn't work out. I worked out. This pump is from yesterday. So if I lift today, even for 20 minutes, this is going to explode. Like I'm just going to look bigger. That's it. There's no trick to it. I just put in the work. And I have a rotator cuff issue going on my right shoulder that I'm still trying to get through. I think this week or the following, I'm going to go for my x-rays to figure out what the hell's going on. So this is how, when someone takes a dig at me, like you are making fun of these girls at 29, 30, I'm not. I'm saying that on one hand, you can look at it that way, that, yeah, I'm making fun that they have no more value. That's not what I'm saying. It's that their expectations with age and time, instead of tapering and compromising because you're not 20 anymore, men value beauty and they're attracted to certain things. And it's something that women cannot control and tell men how you should be attracted. In fact, you all are the worst advisors when it comes to dating, because you say one thing, but you will do something else and do someone else. In other words, you would sleep with someone that we least expect that you would, because your advice will lead us to believe that all guys should be nice guys. And we all know what happens to nice guys. Nice guys always finish last. We get cheated on, stepped on, burned, treated like a doormat, right? So that's why I'm saying, ladies, just don't give us dating advice. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Take it from guys who've actually have been in the game, been part of the system, and men like myself at an older age. I'm able to date younger women, and this is not manipulation. This is natural chemistry. I've given you plenty of examples on this channel where I have shown you some receipts, and I've talked about this. I've documented this. Right? So self-improvement was my ticket to the attraction game, to having the looks and at-bats, which is why I'm saying most guys, by the time they reach my age, they sort of hang it up, give up on life. And you don't have to, my friend. You don't have to. It's not over until you give up on your own self. And I've just continued to maintain this life year after year, 5 years after 5 years, and that turns into a decade after decade. Then you give up alcohol, then you improve your diet, right? All of these things. I would rather focus on nutrition on this channel and share that with you than training. Anyone can go lift dumbbells and do 200 push-ups and try to knock out pull-ups and squat. I don't think anyone needs advice on how to train and what to lift. Because if your diet and sleep, water, your 10,000 steps, all of these things, nutrition, it's not dialed in, your workout's useless. I don't want to show anyone how to work out. I want to inspire you on how to fuel your body. And psychologically and mentally, emotionally, set up like protocols and parameters that protect you from your own self and your own thoughts. How you perceive the world versus and how you want the world to perceive you. Going back to the dating life, my dating life has just gotten better with time and age. Again, inspired by the comment, "You are 50, sir. insinuating and just suggesting that my value is gone. Like, well, if that's the case, younger women, and in some cases, younger women and their moms wouldn't be picking me. I am in this dilemma. Both the mother and daughter are attracted to me. Story for another time. What a great place to be. And for those joining the channel, complimenting, I am 50 years old, and I thank you wholeheartedly. Thanks for being here. I think I'm going to end the video here. And if you're inspired, you know what to do. I don't know where we're going to go with this channel, but I'm going along. I'm with it. This is a ride. I'm getting better each time. And this would officially be the first podcast video that's going to be dropping like now. So till the next video, guys, Mamba out.